The road was long, dusty, and strange, but the human kept walking, his backpack heavy on his shoulders, his boots covered in mud, and his mind filled with hope. He had heard rumors about work in this alien village, good pay, free food, and even a home to live in. After months of searching for a steady job on different colonies, this was his last chance. As he reached the edge of the alien village, he stopped. The buildings looked unusual, tall and curved like shells. Glowing lines ran across their walls as if light was breathing through them. Smoke rose slowly from the chimneys. The air smelled of something sweet yet sharp. He looked around. No one was outside. The place was too quiet. Then, from the shadows, the first villager appeared. Her skin was pale blue, her eyes wide and shining. Like polished stones, she stared at him for a long moment, then gave a smile that felt both welcoming and strange. More villagers stepped out, men and women, all tall, thin, and dressed in robes that shimmered under the alien sun. The human lifted his hand in greeting. "Hello, I was told there's work here," he said, his voice echoing in the still air. The aliens did not answer at first. Instead, they whispered to each other in their own tongue, their voices soft like rustling leaves. Finally, one of them stepped forward, an older male with a staff in his hand. His eyes were golden, and his face carried deep lines. "Yes." The elder spoke in broken, human language where, "We welcome you, traveler. You come for job," he said, nodding slowly. The human's heart lifted. This was it. This was his chance. They led him deeper into the village. The streets curved like a maze, narrow passages between glowing homes. The villagers followed silently, watching him as he walked. Their eyes were curious, some even a little too eager. He felt their gaze on his back like heat. Finally, they reached a large hall at the center of the village, its doors made of dark wood, carved with symbols he could not read. The elder pushed the doors open. Inside, the air was warm and filled with the smell of herbs. Torches burned with green flames along the walls. The human was given a seat at a round table. The elder sat across from him. A group of villagers stood behind, watching without blinking. The human shifted nervously. "So, what is the work exactly?" he asked, his voice breaking the heavy silence. The elder smiled slowly. "Important work, very important for our people. You are chosen." The words made the human uneasy. Chosen? He thought. Chosen for what? The elder placed a sheet of thin crystal on the table. Glowing symbols floated across it. "Contract," the elder explained. "You sign, you live here. Food, home, gold, respect." His voice carried a tone of finality. The human hesitated. He had signed many contracts before, most of them filled with endless conditions. But this one was different. It looked simple. Too simple, just a signature. Nothing else. He frowned. "Can I read it in human language?" he asked. The elder's smile did not fade. "Not needed, we honor contract always." The villagers behind him nodded in unison, their eyes glinting strangely in the green torchlight. The human thought about it. He was tired, hungry, desperate. He had nowhere else to go. Maybe this was how things worked here, maybe it was just their way. After a long breath, he signed, his name glowing bright across the crystal sheet before fading away. The villagers clapped softly, their smiles wide, their whispers growing louder. He could not understand the words, but the tone sent chills down his spine. Something about their excitement felt too strong, too strange. That night, they gave him a house to stay in. It was small but clean. The walls glowed faintly, and the bed was soft. Food was already prepared on the table, warm bread-like loaves and sweet red fruit that dripped juice. He ate hungrily, his stomach finally full after days of traveling. But as he sat by the window looking out into the village, he noticed shadows moving in the streets, villagers watching his house from a distance. Their glowing eyes fixed on him. He felt like a guest and a prisoner at the same time. When he tried to close the window, he heard something. Whispers, clear this time, one of the villagers said in their own language, but he caught a few translated words through his small device. The new one. Strong. He will serve well. His heart sank. Serve well? What did that mean? He thought he was here to work the fields or maybe build houses, but the way they spoke, the way they looked at him, it felt different. The human lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, the silence of the alien night pressing on his ears. He thought of the elder's smile, the villager's eager eyes, the strange contract he had signed without knowing. He turned on his side, trying to calm himself. But deep inside, he knew. Something was wrong with this village. Something they had not told him. Something hidden behind those smiles. And as he drifted into uneasy sleep, he did not know that the real job was nothing like what he imagined. It was something far stranger, something that would change his life forever. The morning sun in the alien village rose slowly, glowing pale green across the strange sky. The human woke up feeling both rested and uneasy. His small house was quiet, but he knew someone had been outside all night. He had seen the shadows, the glowing eyes that refused to leave. He stepped out, stretching his arms. The air smelled sweet again, and the villagers were already awake, walking silently through the curved streets, their robes swaying, their eyes always turning toward him. They smiled, but those smiles were too wide, too long. The elder waited near the central hall, his staff in hand. He raised his arm. "Come, chosen one," he said, his voice calm but heavy. The human followed, curiosity and fear mixing in his chest. Inside, the great hall, more villagers had gathered, men, women, even children. They all stared at him with strange anticipation, like he was not a worker, but something else, something important. The elder motioned for him to sit again at the round table. Food was already waiting, fruits, bread, and steaming bowls of soup. "Eat," the elder said. "You will need strength for your task." The human frowned. "I still don't know what the job is. You promised me work, fair pay, food, shelter. I signed the contract, but no one is telling me what I'm supposed to do." His voice was steady, but his heart raced. The villagers whispered again, soft voices like waves, their golden and silver eyes watching closely. The elder raised his hand and they fell silent. "You will learn today," the elder said, his lips curving into a slow smile. "Your task is simple, but sacred. It is not work for fields, not for stone, not for trade, no. It is work of life." The human blinked, not understanding. "Work of life? What does that mean?" The elder leaned forward, his golden eyes glowing in the dim light. "Our people are fading. Our numbers fall each year. Our blood grows weak. Our wombs grow empty. We need strength, new spirit, new seed." He paused, letting the words hang. "You, human, will give this to us." The human froze, his spoon halfway to his mouth. "You mean—" His voice cracked. The elder nodded slowly. "Yes, your job is to make children, many children. Our women are ready, waiting. You are chosen for this task." The hall was silent except for the sharp pounding of the human's heart, he thought. It was a cruel joke, some kind of trick. But the villagers' faces were serious, their eyes full of expectation. No one laughed. His chair scraped against the floor as he stood. "That's insane. I came here to work, not this," he said, his voice echoing across the hall. But the elder only tapped his staff against the floor and two guards stepped forward, their bodies tall, their muscles lean and strong, their eyes glowing with warning. They blocked the door. "You." "Signed," the elder said softly. "You agreed. You are bound. The contract is law." The human's throat went dry, his mind flashing back to the glowing crystal he had signed, his name burning across it before fading away. His desperation, his hunger, his blind trust, it had all trapped him. The elder continued, "Do not fear, you will be cared for, you will be honored. Our people will treat you with respect. Your children will be celebrated. They will carry your strength, and our blood will live again." The human shook his head, stepping back. No, I didn't agree to this. This isn't what I wanted. You tricked me. But the villagers only whispered louder, some nodding eagerly, some smiling in strange excitement, their voices blending like a chant. The chosen one. The chosen one. The elder raised his staff again, silencing them, then turned back, to the human. You are one of many. Others came before, but few were strong enough. Few had the fire we need. You are different. The human's stomach twisted. He remembered the faces of the other men he had seen yesterday. Pale, drained, broken. They had looked like prisoners, not workers. Now he understood why. He clenched his fists, his mind racing for an escape, but the guard still stood at the door, watching with unreadable eyes. His only way out was blocked. You cannot refuse, the elder said. If you resist, the contract gives us the right to take what is needed. But if you accept, you will live in comfort, with honor, with purpose. The human felt trapped in a nightmare. He wanted to scream, to fight, but he knew if he acted now he would be crushed. He forced himself to breathe, to stay calm. Let me think about it, he said carefully, trying to buy time. This is a lot. I didn't expect this. I need to understand more. The elder studied him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. You will see. Tonight. You will understand. He tapped his staff again, and the guard stepped aside. The human walked quickly back to his small house, his mind spinning. Every villager he passed smiled at him knowingly, their whispers chasing him down the winding streets. The chosen one, the seed bearer, the savior. When he shut the door behind him, his hands shook. He pressed his back against the wall, his breath uneven. Now he knew the truth. Now he knew the job he had taken. It was not farming. It was not building. It was not trading. It was something else. Something he never wanted. Something they would not let him escape. And as the alien sun dipped low, shadows creeping across the village, the human realized one thing with cold certainty. He was trapped in a place where his body was no longer his own, and the night ahead would reveal just how deep this nightmare truly went. The human barely slept that night. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the faces of the villagers, their strange smiles, their glowing eyes, and the elder's calm voice repeating, "Your job is to make children." His body was tired, but his mind refused to rest. When morning came, the knock on his door was soft but firm. 3 times. The sound echoed through the small glowing house. The human froze, his hand tight around the handle of a simple knife he had found in the kitchen. He whispered to himself, "It's just a job, it can't be real, it can't." But when he opened the door, the elder was standing outside, flanked by 2 guards, their tall frames filling the doorway. Behind them, villagers stood in silence, watching him as if today was a ceremony. "It is time," the elder said, his golden eyes gleaming in the pale light. "Come, chosen one, the task begins." The human's chest tightened. He wanted to refuse, to slam the door shut, but the guards stepped forward, leaving him no choice. With slow, heavy steps, he followed them back through the winding streets. The villagers whispered again, that same chant-like sound. The chosen one, the savior, the seed bearer. The central hall was different this time. Candles burned low, filling the air with thick, sweet smoke. The walls glowed faintly, and in the center, the round table was gone, replaced by a long platform draped in silver cloth. On one side stood a group of alien women, their robes lighter than before, their eyes fixed on him, some curious, some serious, none smiling. They were tall, graceful, and each one radiated a strange energy, like quiet hunger hidden behind calm faces. The human's throat went dry. His feet almost refused to move, but the guards pushed him forward until he stood before the elder. "Today," the elder spoke, his staff tapping the floor, "you begin your sacred work. Our survival rests on you. Our women are ready, and so are you." The human's voice cracked as he tried to speak. "No, I didn't agree to this. I didn't know what I was signing. This isn't right." The elder tilted his head slowly, his golden eyes never blinking. "You signed, human, and the contract binds you, but do not see this as punishment. See it as honor. You are giving us life. Your children will be remembered forever." The human clenched his fists, anger burning in his chest. And what if I refuse? What if I say no right now? For the first time, the elder's smile faded, his voice lowered. Then the guards will take you to the chamber of force, and your seed will still be taken. The law does not fail. You cannot escape what has been written. The hall fell into silence, the alien women watching, the guards unmoving. The human's heart pounded like a drum in his ears. He realized then. There was no choice. Not now. Not here. But as his eyes moved across the faces of the women, he noticed one of them, different from the rest. Her eyes softer, her hands trembling slightly. She looked at him not with hunger but with pity. She gave the smallest shake of her head, almost too quick to notice, as if warning him. Not yet. The elder raised his staff, breaking the moment. Bring him to the chamber, he commanded. The guards guided him through another door, down a narrow hall lit by green torches. The air grew warmer, thicker, and the sound of whispering voices followed them like shadows. The chamber was smaller than he expected, its walls covered in glowing symbols. The bed in the center looked more like an altar than furniture, silver sheets stretched across it. This is where the first task begins, the elder said, standing in the doorway. One of our women will join you tonight, and soon she will carry your child. This is the law, this is the purpose. The human's stomach twisted, his chest heavy, his mind racing for escape. But the guards stood firm by the door, their hands gripping weapons carved from crystal. The elder stepped aside, and the woman with soft eyes entered, her robe flowing, her face calm but sad. She did not look at him directly, but he could see her hands shaking. This is Arinya, the elder said, his voice echoing. She is the first. She will carry your blood, and our people will live again. The elder left, the door closing behind him with a deep sound. The guards remained outside, their shadows visible under the crack of the door. The human and Arinya stood in silence, the air thick between them. He finally spoke, his voice low. Do you want this? She looked up at him, her eyes wet with something close to tears, and shook her head. No, she whispered, her voice trembling. But they chose me, and I cannot refuse. None of us can. The human felt his chest tighten. Her words cut through his fear and filled him with anger, not just for himself but for her, for all of them. They were prisoners too, bound by their own people's desperation. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. There has to be a way out, for you, for me, for both of us. Her eyes darted to the door, then back to him. If they hear you, they will punish us. They will not let you escape. They never let anyone escape, she whispered quickly. But you are different, stronger. Maybe you can find a way. The human nodded slowly, his mind already forming plans. He could not fight the guards now, not here. But he could wait. He could pretend. He could look for weakness. For now, he had to survive. As the candles burned lower, the chamber grew darker. The human sat on the edge of the silver bed, his heart heavy, his mind filled with questions. He was trapped. Yes, but he was not broken, not yet. And as Arinya sat beside him, her eyes full of silent fear, he made a silent promise. He would not be their tool, he would not be their slave, and he would not let this village decide his fate. The first task had begun, but the human knew the real fight was only just starting. The chamber's air felt heavier as the night passed. The human sat awake, listening to the quiet breathing of Arinya beside him. Her head rested against the wall, her eyes closed but not at peace. He knew she was not asleep. She was pretending, maybe hoping the night would end faster. He could not pretend. His heart was a storm, his thoughts restless. Every corner of the alien village seemed to press against him. Walls, rules, eyes, contracts, all closing in, he whispered to himself. I have to get out tonight before it's too late. When the first light of dawn touched the window, the guards outside stirred, heavy footsteps, the scraping of weapons. One muttered something in their alien tongue, then silence again. They were alert but not perfect. The human leaned toward Arinya, his voice low. I can't stay here, I won't let them use me like this. I need to escape. Do you know a way? Out? Her eyes opened, full of fear. She shook her head quickly. No one leaves. The village is surrounded by the barrier, a wall of energy. Even if you reach it, you cannot pass. And if they catch you trying, they will kill you, she whispered, her words trembling, but he could see something in her eyes, something unsaid. You know something. He pressed softly. Tell me, please, if there's even a chance. She hesitated, her hands gripping her robe tightly. Finally, she leaned close. There is an old tunnel long forgotten, under the storage house near the east gate. The elders sealed it, but maybe it still leads beyond the barrier. I don't. No, I've only heard whispers. The human's pulse quickened. A tunnel, a way out. Even if it was risky, it was better than waiting to be trapped forever. He touched her hand briefly. Thank you. I'll try. If I make it, I'll find a way to help you too. That night he waited, counting every sound, every shadow until the village fell silent. Only the soft hum of the barrier outside filled the air, glowing faintly like a dome across the horizon. He moved quietly, pushing the chamber's small window open. The frame creaked but did not break. He slipped through, his body hitting the ground softly. The air outside was cool, the stars above strange and unfamiliar. He crouched low, moving between the curved homes, his eyes darting to the shadows where villagers sometimes stood at night. But tonight, they seemed to sleep, or maybe they trusted too much in their guards. The storage house was near the east gate, just as Arinya had said. It was a low building, its walls covered with vines that glowed faintly. He pushed the door open slowly. It groaned, dust falling from the hinges. Inside, shelves of jars and boxes lined the walls, strange fruits stored in crystal containers. The smell of herbs and smoke hung in the air. He searched quickly, his hands brushing against the floor until he found it. A patch of stone that sounded hollow when struck. He pried it open with a broken piece of wood. Dust and cold air rushed up from the darkness below. A tunnel, narrow but real. His heart leaped. He had found it. He climbed down, his hands scraping against rough stone. The tunnel was dark, damp, the air heavy with the smell of earth. He moved forward, crawling, each step echoing faintly. He whispered to himself, almost free, almost. But behind him, above the storage house, a sound rose. The heavy slam of a door, voices shouting in their alien tongue. The human froze, his heart pounding. They had noticed. The tunnel twisted, sloping downward, then upward again, until finally, he saw a faint light ahead. Hope surged. He crawled faster, dirt clinging to his skin, his breath ragged. At the tunnel's end, he pushed aside a layer of old wooden boards. His eyes widened as he stepped out. He was outside the village walls. Beyond the glowing homes, the barrier stretched high above, a shimmering wall of energy that hummed with power. He reached out, pressing his hand against it. Pain shot through him, his arm burning as if fire had licked across his skin. He pulled, back with a cry. The barrier was solid, unbreakable. Desperation clawed at him. He turned, searching. Maybe there was a weak point. Maybe the tunnel had once led further. But it ended here, trapped between the barrier and the village he had fled. Behind him, footsteps echoed through the tunnel. Glowing eyes appeared in the darkness. The guards, tall and relentless, their weapons ready. The human clenched his fists, anger and fear mixing. He grabbed a broken stone from the ground, his only weapon, his voice low. I won't go back, I won't. But as the guards emerged, their faces calm, their eyes glowing cold, he realized something. They were not angry, they were not even surprised. One of them smiled slightly. You cannot escape, the guard said in broken human tongue. The barrier is alive. It does not let outsiders pass. It watches. It learns. You are part of it now. The elder stepped forward from the tunnel's shadows, his staff glowing faintly. Foolish one, he said, his golden eyes fixed on the human. Do you see now? There is no leaving. You belong here with us, with your task, with your destiny. The human's chest heaved, his body trembling with rage, but his mind refused to break. He dropped the stone slowly, his voice steady, though his heart screamed. Maybe I can't escape tonight, but one day I will. You can't keep me forever. The elder only smiled, tapping his staff against the ground. The guards closed in, their hands gripping the human's arms like iron, dragging him back through the tunnel, back toward the glowing village. As they pulled him, Arinya's words echoed in his mind. Maybe you can find a way. And deep inside, the human swore again. This was not the end, this was only the beginning of his fight. The human was dragged back through the tunnel, his arms bruised by the guard's iron grip, his body aching, but his spirit burning with quiet defiance. The elder walked ahead, his golden eyes glowing faintly in the dark, his voice calm. You have seen the truth. There is no escape. Accept your role, and you will live in honor. But the human said nothing, his jaw clenched, his heart beating with anger. When they reached the central hall again, the villagers were waiting, their whispers louder now, their glowing eyes filled with strange joy. They treated his failed escape not as rebellion, but as ritual, as if it had been expected. The elder raised his staff, silencing them. The chosen one has tested the barrier, and now he understands he belongs to us. The villagers bowed their heads, their voices blending into a chant. Belongs to us. Belongs to us. The human was pushed back into his small house, the door sealed from outside with a glowing lock. He sank onto the bed, his fists shaking. I'm not theirs, never, he whispered to himself. But the walls felt alive, watching, him, holding him. That night, when the village grew quiet, a soft knock came at his window, 3 gentle taps. He turned quickly, his knife ready, but when the curtain shifted, he saw her face. Arinya, her eyes wide, her breath uneven. She slipped inside, her robe brushing against the glowing floor. You should not be here, he whispered, his voice sharp. But his heart eased when he saw her trembling hands. If they catch you, they'll punish you. She shook her head. I had to come. I heard what happened. They say you tried to escape. They will watch you closer now. You are trapped. But I don't want you to lose hope. Her voice was soft but firm. He looked at her carefully, her silver blue skin glowing faintly under the dim light, her eyes carrying both sadness and strength. Why are you helping me? He asked. Aren't you one of them? Her lips tightened, and for a moment she was silent. Then she said, I was chosen like you, but not to leave. Chosen to obey. Chosen to carry children. I never wanted this. But here, no one asks what we want, even the women. We are bound by the elder's law. Her voice cracked. The human felt his anger shift, no longer only for himself, but for her too, for all of them. He saw now that she was not his captor, but another prisoner inside this village of smiling faces. He leaned closer, his voice steady. Then we have something in common, both of us trapped by their law, both of us wanting freedom. Her eyes lifted to his, and for the first time she smiled. Not the hollow smile of the villagers, but a small, fragile smile, one that held truth. Yes, she whispered. They sat in silence for a long time, the air heavy with unspoken words. He wanted to ask her about the others, the drained men he had seen, the pale faces that looked broken, but he could not yet. He knew the pain in her eyes was enough for tonight. Instead, he asked, Tell me about the barrier. What is it?
Why can't anyone cross?
Arinya lowered her gaze, her fingers tracing the edge of her robe. The barrier is alive. It is not stone or metal. It is made from the blood of our ancestors, bound to this land. It feeds on willpower, on strength. The harder you fight it, the more it burns you. Only the elders know how to control it. Only they walk freely through. The human's mind raced, alive, feeding on strength. If it was a living thing, maybe it had weaknesses. Maybe it could be tricked. He stored the thought deep in his mind. Arinya continued. The tunnel you found, it was once used by rebels long ago. They tried to escape, but the barrier caught them. Their bodies were never found, only ashes on the ground. Her voice dropped to a whisper. This is why I begged you not to try. He reached out, placing a hand gently on hers. Her skin was cool, trembling. I don't regret trying, he said, because now I know I will never stop. One day I'll break their law. I'll break their barrier, but I can't do it alone. Her eyes widened. At his touch, her breath catching, she studied him for a long moment, then nodded slowly. If you truly mean this, then I will help you, even if it costs me everything. A bond formed in that quiet moment, fragile but real. Two souls bound by chains but sharing the same fire. The sound of footsteps outside made them freeze. Shadows passing the window, guards, circling the house. Arinya pressed a finger to her lips, her eyes warning him. Then she slipped back into the night, vanishing like a ghost. The human sat in the silence that followed, his heart racing, her words echoing in his mind. I will help you, even if it costs me everything. He realized then that his fight was no longer just for himself. It was for her, for all the ones trapped in this village of false smiles. The bond between him and Arinya was dangerous, but it was also the first true spark of hope. And as he lay down on the bed, staring at the glowing ceiling, he whispered to himself, "They think I belong to them, but they're wrong. I will belong to no one." The night grew deep. The barrier hummed faintly in the distance, and somewhere in the quiet darkness, two prisoners shared the same dream: freedom. The next day, the human was called to the central hall again, the Yai. Heavy doors opening slowly as the villagers filled the room, their glowing eyes fixed on him. The chant had returned, soft at first, then louder. The chosen one, the savior, their voices pressed against his chest like a weight. The elder stood in the center, his golden eyes gleaming, his staff glowing faintly. "Today, human, you will decide," he said, his voice calm but sharp. "You have tested us, you have resisted, but now no more games. You will choose your path. Accept your sacred duty or face punishment." The human's jaw tightened, his fists clenched at his side. "You tricked me into signing that contract. You never told me the truth. I don't owe you anything." His words rang across the hall. The villagers hissed, their whispers turning into angry murmurs, but the elder raised his staff, silencing them. "The contract binds you," he said, his voice heavy. "But still, I offer you a choice. You may walk willingly, live in comfort, father our children, and be honored forever, or—" he paused, his eyes narrowing. "You may resist and be broken like the others before you." The human's mind flashed with images, the pale, drained faces he had seen, men who had once been strong but now looked hollow, empty shells. He swallowed hard. He did not want that fate, but he also refused to bow. From the corner of the hall, his eyes caught a movement. Arinya, standing among the women, her face calm, but her hand shifting slightly, she touched her chest, then lifted two fingers, pointing subtly toward him. It was a signal, but what did it mean? Trust? Warning? His heart pounded faster. The elder stepped closer, his staff tapping against the floor, the sound echoing like thunder. "Decide now, human. Speak. Will you serve willingly, or will we take what is owed?" The guards moved closer, their weapons shimmering, their eyes locked on him, ready to strike if he chose the wrong answer. The human forced himself to breathe, to stay calm. "If I serve willingly," he asked slowly, "what happens to me? Will I be free to walk, to live as I wish?" The elder's lips curved into a slow smile. "You will live among us. You will eat at our tables, sleep in our halls. Our women will welcome you, and your children will carry your name. You will never want for food or shelter," he said smoothly. The human's stomach twisted. It sounded like comfort, but it was nothing more than a cage with softer walls. "And if I refuse?" he pressed. The elder's smile faded, his voice cold now. "Then you will be drained, your body emptied of its strength until nothing remains, your seed taken without your will, your name forgotten, only ashes left." The hall fell silent. Every eye fixed on him, the choice laid bare, comfort in chains or destruction. The human looked again at Arinya, her eyes desperate, her fingers twitching slightly. This time she mouthed a single word, one he barely caught. "Wait." He understood she was telling him not to act rashly, not to fight here, not yet. He turned back to the elder, his face steady, his voice low but firm. "I will not be broken, and I will not be your tool, but I will wait. I will see. Maybe I can learn your ways." A murmur swept through the villagers, surprise flashing in their eyes. The elder studied him closely, suspicion flickering for a moment. Then he nodded slowly. "Wise," he said. "You begin tonight, and soon your purpose will be fulfilled." The hall erupted in whispers again, some joyful, some doubtful, but the elder silenced them with a tap of his staff. "Take him back. Prepare him." The guards stepped forward, but this time their grip was lighter, almost respectful. The villagers bowed their heads as he passed, but their glowing eyes followed hungrily. Back in his small house, the human paced the floor, his mind racing. "I didn't give in. Not truly. I only bought time," he told himself. "Now I must be clever. Now I must find a way out." That night, as the sky turned dark and the barrier hummed faintly in the distance, Arinya slipped through his window again, her face pale with worry. "You spoke well today," she whispered. "But the elder will test you. He does not trust easily. Soon they will force you again." He nodded. "I know, but I saw your signal. Why did you tell me to wait?" Her eyes shone with a quiet fire. "Because the barrier can be tricked. Not broken, but tricked, my grandmother once told me. It feeds on willpower. But if you mask your will, if you appear empty, it cannot burn you. That is why I told you not to fight now. Not in front of them. Save your strength." The human's breath caught, hope flickering inside him. "If that's true, then maybe I can pass through it." She nodded slowly, fear still in her voice. "Maybe, but it will not be easy. And if the elder discovers our plan, we will both be destroyed." He reached for her hand, gripping it firmly. "Then we keep it secret. For now I play their game, but when the time is right, we move." Her eyes softened, her voice a whisper. "You are not like the others. You fight still. You make me believe we can be free." The human felt something shift inside him. Not just anger now, but something warmer, something dangerous. A bond growing stronger with each word. The elder thought he had forced him into a corner, but the human knew the truth. This was no end. This was only a pause. He had made his choice. Not the one the elder wanted. Not the one the villagers believed, but his own. He would wait. He would learn. And when the moment came, he would tear their law apart. And as the barrier hummed faintly across the night sky, the human whispered into the darkness, "You can't keep me forever." Days passed, and the human played the role the elder expected. He walked through the village with calm steps, ate the food they offered, and listened quietly when the villagers whispered. He let them believe he was bending, that he was slowly accepting his sacred duty, but inside he was planning every look, every word, every guard's movement. He studied it all, and every night when the village grew silent, Arinya slipped into his house, sharing what little she knew. Stories whispered by her grandmother about the barrier, about the law, about the weakness hidden in plain sight. The barrier fed on willpower, on resistance, on the strength of the mind. That was why the stronger men before him had been burned. They had fought with fire in their hearts, and the barrier had eaten that fire, turning it into chains. But what if he did the opposite? What if he gave it nothing? No fight, no resistance, no will, only emptiness. Arinya believed it was possible, though dangerous. If you empty yourself, if you make your mind quiet, the barrier may not sense you. It may let you pass, like air, passing through water. She whispered one night, her eyes wide with both fear and hope. The human nodded, storing the words deep in his heart. "Then that is my path, not today, not tomorrow, but soon." The elder, however, was not blind. He watched the human with his golden eyes, suspicion in every glance. One evening he called the human again to the central hall. The villagers gathered, their glowing eyes fixed. The elder spoke with a voice that shook the walls. "Tonight, there is no delay. You will fulfill your role, no more waiting." The human's heart pounded. This was the moment. If he refused openly, he would be destroyed. If he gave in, he would be broken. So he did what humanity had always done best. He adapted. He bowed his head slightly, his voice calm. "I understand," he said, and for the first time the elder smiled in true satisfaction. The villagers cheered, the chant filling the hall. The chosen one, the savior. The guards relaxed. The women looked on with expectation, but Arinya's eyes found his, and she saw it, the hidden fire that had not gone out. That night, they brought him to the chamber again, the same silver bed, the same glowing walls. But, instead of fear, he carried silence inside him. He did not rage, he did not resist. He made his mind as empty as stone. Arinya entered quietly, her hands trembling. She whispered quickly before the guards left. "The east gate tomorrow night, the tunnel again, I will be there." Her eyes searched his face. "Do not fail, it is the only chance." He gave the smallest nod, then lay back on the bed, his mind drifting into stillness, playing the role of a man who had finally surrendered. The next night, while the village celebrated, believing the human had accepted his place, he slipped away, his steps silent, his heart calm, his mind empty, just as Arinya had taught him. At the east gate, the tunnel waited, and Arinya was there, her eyes wide with fear, but steady with courage. "They will notice soon," she whispered. "We must go now." They crawled through the dark passage, the air heavy with dust, the sound of the village fading behind them. When they reached the end, the barrier hummed before them, tall, shimmering, alive. The human stepped forward, his chest rising, his mind empty. No fire, no resistance, only silence. He touched the barrier, expecting pain, expecting fire, but nothing. It shimmered around his hand like water, then parted, a ripple spreading outward. Arinya gasped softly. "It works." He stepped through, his whole body sliding into the shimmer, his heart steady, and for the first time since he had entered the village, he felt the taste of freedom in the air. He turned, reaching out for Arinya. "Come," he said. But she hesitated, her silver eyes full of fear. "If I go, they will hunt us both. They will never stop." He gripped her hand, his voice fierce. "They will hunt me anyway. But together we can fight. Alone you will only break. Come with me." Her breath caught. Then she stepped forward, her body trembling as she passed through the barrier, her face lit with awe as she realized the shimmer did not burn her either. Not while she held his hand. Behind them, voices rose. The villagers had noticed. The guards were running through the tunnel, their shouts filling the air. The elders, voice booming, "You cannot escape. The barrier belongs to us." The human turned back once, his eyes meeting the elders' golden glare through the shimmer. And he spoke loudly, his voice carrying, "No, it doesn't. It never belonged to you. It belongs to no one." With that, the barrier closed behind them, sealing the tunnel, cutting off the elders' furious cry. For the first time, the human and Arinya stood outside the village, the alien forest stretching wide, strange stars burning above, the air crisp and free. They were not safe yet. The elders would come. The guards would chase, but they had done what no one else had. Escaped, Arinya looked at him, her eyes filled with tears. "You gave me hope when I had none. Why did you risk everything?" The human's face was hard, but his voice soft. "Because that's what humans do. We fight cages, we break chains no matter how strong they seem." She smiled. A real smile, fragile but bright. "Then maybe together we can build something new." The human nodded, his gaze on the horizon, his fists tight. "Yes, together, and when they come for us, we'll be ready." And under the alien sky, far from the village that had tried to own him, the human made his vow, not just to survive, but to fight not just for himself, but for Arinya, for freedom, and for every soul still trapped behind that shimmering wall. Humanity's answer was clear. He would never belong to them. He would belong only to his own will, his own choice, and the galaxy, though it did not yet know it, was about to learn what that truly meant.